Well, folks, 2019 is more than halfway over, and with all the films that have come out this year, big films, small films, expensive films, cheap films, films at film festivals that haven't even gotten theatrical runs yet, is it possible, is it within the realm of possibility that the best film of 2019 so far is about strippers robbing Wall Street bankers, starring J-Lo? Spoiler alert, yes.
Front hook, ankle hook, knee hook. From here you can do the carousel. Just switch and wrap.
Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you for watching. This week is going to be a review of the film Hustlers. As you could tell from the intro, it is technically sort of a review, but it's also kind of a personal video. As you can see, if you watched last week's video, I am still in a hotel room. I am not going home until tomorrow, which is actually today when you're watching this, or later if you're not watching it the day it goes up. Whatever. By the time you're seeing this, I'll be either home or on my way home. However, I am still in the hotel room, so you're still stuck with these fucking garbage paintings, and they just suck. It's not my thing. It's not my aesthetic. The thing is, last week before I went on this work trip, I was planning to go to a screening of Hustlers to review it and then make a video about it because it's a movie about strippers robbing people. Obviously, I was going to go see that movie. However, I missed the screening, and I didn't get a chance to watch it until yesterday while I'm here for work, and I loved it. I really, really loved this movie. I had a blast. I was super into it. I cried a bunch of times. I know it sounds like an ironic thing, like ha ha ha, but no, like for real, had like a very strong emotional reaction to this film. And I just want to talk about it. It's not, I mean, it's like, this is like a review video, but it's not solely a review video. I do have some gripes with the film, so we'll talk about those a little bit, but for the most part, I was blown away. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I just want to sing Hustlers' praises. I just want to preach the gospel. And hopefully you guys are here for that. So, a little bit of background. When I first heard about the movie Hustlers, I was like, oh, a movie about strippers robbing people. That sounds tight. I'm game for that. But based on the trailers alone, I thought Hustlers looked like kind of a trashy movie. Like, I thought it was going to be kind of like just a thrown together affair. I felt like there's like at least one actor in the cast to match every different demographic of like young women. You know what I mean? So I felt like this is just sort of like a naked cash grab. Simple movie, simple plot. Probably some cool bits and stuff. But I thought it would be like fun, somewhat ironically. I thought it would be like a fun movie, not something I would like actually really, really get into. And like, you know, strippers are great, and like robbing rich people is great. Those are like my two favorite things, so I figured it'd be entertaining. You know, I figured if it was a bad movie, it would at least be like a fun bad movie, and we like those around here and everywhere, I think. What I didn't know is that Hustlers is actually really good. Like it's like a real movie. It's not like a thrown together thing. It's like legit. And obviously the film's been out for a week. This isn't like a new review, so to speak. And it's got really good reviews. It's got like a really strong, response from critics and audiences alike, which is good. It's made some good money. So now a full week has passed, and I knew going in that it was going to be like a real movie. But even then, I wasn't prepared for how I was going to feel about it. When there's a movie that's coming up that you're excited about, or you have heard good things about, or you read good reviews, or something you've been anticipating, when that movie is good, it is a good feeling to like, oh, this movie I was excited about turned out to be great. That's fun. But it pales in comparison to me to going into an auditorium to watch a movie, or opening up your laptop, or turning on your TV, or whatever, and being like blown away because you didn't have those expectations for this project. I don't mean like just because you go in with low expectations and then something is good, that means it's like great because like you undersold it. I don't necessarily mean that. I just mean that when you do go see something and you're not like ready, you're not like prepared to get floored, it is such a good feeling. Because like, I've talked about this in other videos. I watch a lot of movies, and a lot of times I go in like, oh, please be good, please be good, please be watchable, please don't waste my time. And then you're like, oh, well, that sucked. That I can't have those hours back, you know? And that sucks. So being in another city, away from home, and being overworked a little bit, and well, not overworked, but I worked a lot, and just being kind of exhausted, having a couple hours to myself and not having to do anything, and deciding I'm going to go see Hustlers. It was kind of a gamble. It could have been bad, and I would have been really depressed that like the one thing I was looking forward to like was gonna suck, and it didn't. It paid off. So the movie first. We'll talk about the movie and then my personal feelings about it, obviously. Hustlers is a story about, obviously it's based on a true story. I have not done very much research about the actual true story or any of the stuff or the basis of the film or anything, so like, just I probably should have before doing this video, but like I like the movie so much, like I didn't give a shit like about anything. I just didn't care. I was like, I don't care if there's like this how true the story is, if there's differences, like whatever. Just I like this movie, and I don't need anything beyond that. Constance Wu stars in the film, and she plays a young woman who's a stripper at this like the strip club, and she's like good at her job, I guess, but not very good at it. She doesn't like make like a ton of money and stuff, and she lives alone with her grandmother. And I don't remember the actress name who plays her grandmother, but her grandmother is definitely like the lady from like the Netflix Daredevil that like is supposed to be like the crane lady from like Iron Fist. I forget these characters' names, just whatever. Like you know what I'm talking about. And Constance Wu's character goes to work, and like she's sick of the job and she's not making the money she kind of wants to be making. This is like around 2007, and then she meets J-Lo's character, Ramona, and J-Lo's character is like not the star, the real like the protagonist of the movie is Constance Wu, but like J-Lo's like the star, and she's just like this amazing, captivating, crazy good stripper who was like a Playboy centerfold in like 1993. So like actually it's J-Lo playing like closer to like her real age and stuff, and not having to like shy away from the fact that she's more experienced. And they immediately form this crazy bond. They get very close. J-Lo takes Constance Wu's character under her wing, introduces her to the other strippers, and becomes kind of a bigger community. And they develop this really cool friendship. It's kind of like mother and daughterly a little bit. And through all these teachings and learnings, she becomes like a really good stripper. And like they start making tons of money and like making money hand over fist off like all these Wall Street guys, because like this club primarily caters to like the like Wall Street type people, because these guys just have money to blow and they come in and they blow it and stuff. And J-Lo's character obviously makes a lot of overtures about the fact that these men are basically like thieves. Like a lot of Wall Street type people are making money in really unscrupulous ways, and they have tons of it, and they blow on cocaine and strippers. And like why shouldn't these girls get a piece of that action? And the movie does such a good job of building up like how great things are going for these characters and how wonderful they are, that I forgot that when the movie opened it said it's set in 2007. So then it builds up to the financial crisis of 2008, and obviously things fall apart. Strippers are not making very much money because no one's making very much money because it's a recession. But certainly if your primary clientele are like Wall Street guys, like that just fucking drives it immediately. And then from there, Constance Wu's character gets pregnant with this guy she shouldn't be with. She's a kid, and then like years pass, and then she runs into Ramona again. She's back to stripping, and it's miserable, and like the whole industry is essentially changed. And she links up with Ramona and some other strippers get together, and they have this thing they do for the club where they're going fishing. They go out and they meet guys who seem like they probably have money, wine and dine them just as hot women at a bar, and then get them to go back to the club, and then get those guys to spend a ton of money, and then they split the money with the bar, with the club, with the strip club. And at that point, that's not illegal. Like what they do with that's fine. Like they find guys, get them to spend money, and then like they make some of it. It's like it's totally normal. But sometimes it leans into this other thing where like the guys don't want to spend a lot of money, but they have a lot of money, and they drug them and get them to the club, and while they're drugged, they take their card and just ring up tons of stuff, keep a bunch of the money, and then whenever the guy wakes up and realizes he spent like 12 grand or something, like, and he calls them like, what the fuck, you guys robbed me. He's like, hey, you don't remember because you drank so much, but you had a really great time or whatever. They're robbing them. They're drugging them and robbing them. That's wrong. I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong, obviously, but like, anyway, we'll get into that stuff more later. But that's what they start doing, but then they get like really good at it, and it becomes like this really bigger enterprise thing, and they're making all this money hand over fist, and it goes too far, obviously, and it all comes crashing down. It follows the typical. It doesn't really follow the heist film structure because there's not like an actual heist, like an individual thing they do. It follows more like the gangster movie structure where they do crimes and everything kind of crescendos like this big height, and then it all comes crashing down. And the individual relationships that support this large network of crime, so to speak, collapses, and it's very tragic, and it's very touching. It's a lot more touching than you think a movie like this would be. Not just because, I don't know, most people don't consider strippers as like people, but like it's very well constructed. So that's a generic plot out of the way. The movie is written and directed by Lorene Scafaria, who wrote Nicanor's Infinite Playlist and directed a couple movies, and used to be a part of like that like mob of like young women that all were selling screenplays around the same time, like her, Liz Meriwether, who created The New Girl, like Diablo Cody, and there's definitely a fourth woman in this group, but I don't remember her name or what she wrote. But those are the three that I remember because I like their films and things the most. And this is like a huge breakthrough movie for her. I think that like I really hope this helps her kind of just write her own ticket going forward. It's a really strong script. It's pretty good. There's like a little issues here and there, but like it's really good writing. From a directing standpoint, I've definitely seen people sort of criticize how generic elements of the movie look, because it's not a very expensive movie, and there's not like a wealth of locations and things like that. And some of the footage, like the stuff you see in the trailer, is a little generic. And there are moments and things that just look like they could be from any random music video. You know what I mean? Like it's not really like rich and detailed. But there is a tone and a character to the movie that she imbues the story with that I think is so special and really got me. The moment I knew I was in the bag for this movie, it was like a twofold thing. When you meet J-Lo's character, she's introduced by her big like. The movie takes its time to show you the club and show you the strippers and how things work, and it shows it like sort of like a monotonous routine. So when you meet Ramona, J-Lo's character, when you watch her dance for the first time, it's very captivating. J-Lo looks great. It's whatever, and it's set to Fiona Apple's "Criminal." She comes out and just owns this entire club to this like non-traditional strip club song, and it's just an incredible moment. I would say it would be star making if J-Lo wasn't already J-Lo, but it's a really good scene. And then I was like, wow, okay, I'm in the bag for this movie. I love Fiona Apple. I love this song. This is wild. But it's what got me right after that, which is the moment that Constance Wu's character and J-Lo bond for the first time. And Constance Wu's character comes out of the club, like out to like the rooftop or whatever, to smoke. And J-Lo's already out there. And it's just the shot of her in her like stripper gear, so like not much, and this big ass fur coat. It's very glamorous, but the shot is so captivating, but not like oh, this is hot. It's not like a Mel Gazy type thing. She just looks like a lioness, like at rest. There's just I'm not even a really big J-Lo fan like that. Like a lot of her music is kind of shitty. Like sometimes I think that she has like sort of an overblown sense of musical self. But like as an actress, I've always thought she was pretty solid. This is probably the best performance of her career, maybe, at least since like Out of Sight. She has flashes of brilliance in some other movies and stuff, but this is like really strong. And she's out there with the coat, and Constance Wu comes over, and like they're talking, and Ramona says, like, get in my coat. It's cold out here. And she just wraps her up in the coat while they sit and have this smoke break together. And it's just so iconic. Like, there's so much. It seems weird that I'm like popping like this over like such a simple scene or whatever, but when you see it, it feels so rich and like honest, and like as the film progresses, you realize that Constance Wu was raised by her grandmother, and like her actual mother wasn't around. Like she's like clearly has mommy issues, and like that's like the why they bond the way they do. But in this moment, you don't know that stuff yet, but you can already feel it, which is really killer for like it's like what 30 seconds of screen time, and it's just really stirring. It's so different than like what I expected the movie to be. Even after I'd heard that they had good reviews and it was a solid movie, I figured it would be kind of Ocean's 8 like. Like I imagined, because it's a movie about like strippers and like commerce, it's sort of about. I thought it'd be kind of like a Soderbergh movie. I thought it'd be something like in the vein of like The First Magic Mike or The Girlfriend Experience, like that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I can see how that could be fun. But it's so much more than that, because like even some of Soderbergh's best movies in that milieu, which I love his films, especially the way he deals with the intersection of like humanity and some kind of art and capitalism and stuff. Even those films are a little cold at times. You know what I mean? Like they're not as warm, really. Like Magic Mike XXL is pretty warm, but he didn't direct that one. He just was the cinematographer. But like this to me feels kind of like those movies, but a lot warmer, and the film is not afraid to take the time to really show you the relationships between these women, and they're so layered and lived in, and they feel honest. There are moments where the drama and the comedy are both a little bit too broad. Particularly with like the way Constance Wu's performance goes. Like as a character, I feel like her character is given a lot of stuff, but some of her scenes are written in a way where like she's expected to play kind of broad comedy and then like real histrionic drama in a way that like I think taxes her specific like her like appeal. Like the way she is as an actress to me is not the best served by this role. Not to say that she shouldn't have gotten it or she's not good in it, but I don't think the marriage of actress and part here is as strong as it is between J-Lo and her part, or some of the other side players in their parts. So that's like a criticism of the movie. But their relationship to me was just like so perfect, and watching it unfold, there are moments where like I know how movies work. Like I know that this is not going to be a happy ending. And I remember getting like a dread in my stomach, thinking like, oh, I really want this to work out. Like, it's okay if they have to go to jail, or if they don't get out with all the money or whatever. I know how the movie is gonna have to go, but I just hope that like they're okay. I just want them to like work out. I want things to be good for them, and that's not something I don't get invested in movies to that degree that often anymore. I'll be honest. Like even when I really like something, I'm usually thinking very like mechanically about it, and there were no mechanics. Like I cried a couple of times. I was very, very, very affected by the relationship. Just really, really solid stuff. One of the things I also liked is the fact that the movie uses like period appropriate music. I didn't like vet every single song choice, but like when they were in 2007, they were playing songs that I could imagine hearing in a strip club in 2007. I've been to strip clubs in 2007. As the years progress, because the movie takes place from like 2007 to like all the way up to like maybe 2015. Like when you heard music, it was like the right music. And there were a couple of song cues that are obviously like non-diegetic, like needle drop stuff for like dramatic moments, and those songs are good too, even though they're not like timely. And just the whole movie just has this real good vibe to it. Like it's not a normal 3-act structure. I mean, it's kind of 3-act structure, but it's like this two-pronged structure where it's like you meet this character and you have this big crescendo up to the 2008 crisis, and everything falls down, and then you like rewatch that exact same path. Like literally, these women like recreate like their glory days, but like where they have more control over it. And it feels kind of like revenge almost. Like it's not intended to be revenge, but like the movie draws such stark and like obvious parallel between the fact that the financial crisis happened because an entire class of people were stealing from people, basically. You know what I mean? Like to not get into like a complicated conversation. I'm not going to rehash everything that happened in The Big Short or whatever, but like that's what happened. It was a bunch of people making all this money hand over fist, unscrupulously, terribly, and like stealing from people, and they all basically got away with it. Almost all of them. You know, like nobody went to jail. Okay? So the pitch is like that happened, and it ruined everything so much that these girls' lives fell apart. Now they're back in control, and they're taking they're doing the same thing. Obviously, Wall Street bankers weren't drugging people and taking their money, but they were fucking thieves. Okay? And the movie does take a lot of time in the third act to remind you that what these girls are doing is wrong too. Because eventually they stop just kind of fucking over like rich philanderers and stuff, and they get too into it, obviously. And some of the bits in the third act where like Ramona's like kind of turns like heel a little bit and is too greedy and doesn't care about certain things. Those things happen at a pace that's a little bit uneasy feeling. Like I didn't buy it the same way I bought the earlier stuff, but it still works. But so much of that part of the movie to me is them trying to let the audience know, like, what these women are doing is just as bad as what those guys did, and what those guys did doesn't justify what they're doing. Which I mostly agree with, except that in this movie, when these girls get caught, you know, there's like jail, there's like there's consequences, okay? And there was not consequences for these other people. And the film, I think, also calls that into focus. There's a really, really strong moment that I thought was so killer, where Constance Wu's character is pregnant, and like the piece of shit guy that got her pregnant is telling her he's going to take care of her. She doesn't have to worry about all this stuff. And like, you know, he's not going to fucking follow through. This guy just seems like scum. And he's like talking about like, yeah, we'll do this. And if it's a boy, we'll name him Johnny or whatever. And there's this really great like close up of her where she says, I hope it's a boy. And like in the context of the scene, it's more about the fact that like she didn't have a mother growing up, and like she has this complex about it. But also, it's like she's surrounded by men that get away with whatever they want, and the women have to struggle. And she just doesn't want her. She doesn't want to have a daughter who's going to go through the things she's gone through. She would just rather have a son, because at least like systemically he would have a better chance of surviving and doing well, which is so fucked up. And it hard cuts to her pushing a stroller with a daughter around, and you know it really it's affecting, man. I remember thinking like, fuck yeah, they got me. Really great moment. But like, you know, it's I feel like this movie does better what the movie The Kitchen this year tried to do, where The Kitchen's like, here's a gangster movie, but it's ladies doing it this time, and almost every scene is just like, it's women, this time we got guns, you know. And it's a very like blunt and like awkward movie, and it's tonally kind of all over the place and structurally a little bit weird. The performances are really good in The Kitchen. Good. There's things about The Kitchen that I think are worth watching. It's just not a very well made movie, where I think this movie is considerably better made. But the parallel is that in The Kitchen goes out of its way to like kind of show you like there are a lot of things in the movie that make audiences uneasy about the kitchen, like things that the women do once they take over this criminal enterprise. But there are things that you would not bat an eye at in like Scarface or something. That's kind of like the joke of the movie, you know? And the movie kind of lets you know that these women go too far too, and blah, 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 blah. It's a whole thing. But it doesn't really play to me. Here, I admire that they want to show you like, hey, crime doesn't pay. These girls did things that were bad. They were just as you know, predatory as these Wall Street guys. But the difference, again, is that when they were predatory, the police got involved. You know, these guys, this entire thing was like a systemic thing that was allowed to continue. That, to me, it's important that the movie doesn't completely undo that. The movie does not completely go, they were just as bad, because it's different. It's very different. And I think a lot of guys in particular are going to watch this movie and not want to be stoked about a movie about strippers drugging people and taking their money. But like lots of heist movies about people, you know, doing fucked up things and taking someone's money. The drugging part to me doesn't make it like worse. They're not fucking raping them, you know. They're just taking their fucking credit cards, you know, whatever. And like obviously the big mark that ends up blowing the whole thing in the movie is a relatively innocent guy who's done nothing wrong and stuff. And the movie like really turns the dial up there to be like, look at this totally decent guy. Look how bad they hurt this one decent person. And it makes you feel like they're just fucking scoundrel monsters. Whole time, all the different like Wall Street guys you looked over like fucked over hundreds of people, thousands of people like this guy. And it's like whatever. So that's the whole thing. But I want to talk about why I think the movie hit me so hard, okay? I want to talk about how when the movie was over, there's a guy sitting behind me in the theater who turned to his wife or whoever the fuck he was with and was like, I haven't wanted to leave a movie that badly since Bohemian Rhapsody. And I thought about forearming that guy in the fucking head, because Bohemian Rhapsody sucks and the movie's a delight. And I think the reason the movie got to me is like, I've spent this whole week, without getting like a lot of personal stuff about my life, working at a, you know, I work at a theater. I was working at not my theater, helping out for some stuff. Long story. But I worked with a lot of people that I'm really cool with, some people that I really care about, people I like on a great level, and we're just in this shit together, you know? And like when you work wage slavey type jobs for a long time, and you know that you're not always being paid like what you maybe are worth or should be paid, like there's a sense of injustice all the time, and you always sort of feel like just like a grunt, you know? And not a lot of movies capture, to me, this like tragicomic axis between hating a job and hating working and like just being tired and always just feeling like you're giving so much and not getting much in return, with the kinship and fellowship you feel with the other people who are going through the same thing as you, that you've been through stuff with and you've seen shit together with, and like you really support each other. And it's like this very special kind of bond, I think. Like the people that you like this, I really like found family stuff in movies, and I really admire capturing that and showing how close people can get when they have to have the shared experiences. They work together and they do things, and like obviously me and my friends weren't drugging anybody this week and like forcing them to buy popcorn or something like that, but it felt good to see that kind of connection on screen, to see it represented, to see what it's like when you're struggling and other people are struggling with you, and then when things are good, that they're also with you, that they're with you through thick and thin, and that, you know, the kind of us versus them mentality. Like in the movie, you see the strippers and these girls get together kind of against like the marks and stuff. And like when you work in customer service, it kind of feels like that sometimes. It's you and all the people you work with against all the customers coming in, and like just and I don't know, man. Like I've watched a lot of super movies this year. Very few of which did anything for me. I watched some horror movies this year that didn't really affect me that much. I haven't seen very many good dramas. I've seen a couple of funny comedies. I liked Booksmart, I guess, and like I almost said Game Night, but that was last year. But this really affected me. Even though, like, obviously a lot of the stuff in the movie probably speaks more to women than I think it does to, like, men. In like, a good way, I mean. And, but on a broader level, like, that sense of camaraderie and how close you get with people, just through working, you know what I mean? Like, working is really hard. Like, all jobs are hard. Like, things are hard. And that within that, even in an unjust system, even in like hard times, even in like bad economy, all these different things, you can find people who will like take you under their wing and like nurture you and like support you, and like vice versa, and like you're there for them and they're there for you. And I don't know, I went in the movie maybe not expecting a whole lot, but with my entire like mind, body, and soul just being like a raw nerve, just like open and like uncovered. And maybe it's possible that in this emotional state, any fucking movie would have made me feel these things. That's possible. But I really think this movie's special, man. I think there's something about it that's really unique. And maybe by like award season, people will already be over it, and they'll think that it was like overhyped, and the idea that J-Lo could get out there for an Oscar for playing a stripper, people will be like, "Fuck this! What was going on with us in September?" You know, when they're all like jerking off whatever award season movies come out. But I hope that I would like to see it again. I'll probably watch it again when it comes to like home video and stuff, and I really hope that more people see it. And I hope that people don't forget about this movie by the end of the year, because, you know, this movie definitely came out in like a dump week. You know, no one gives a shit about this type of thing, but I really liked it. It affected me more than a lot of other stuff I saw this year, and it's definitely in my top 5 favorite movies of the year. I don't know if I can call it my favorite, but I think it's really close, and like I think people should see it. I really think people should see it. Like I think more people. I think if you saw the commercial for Hustlers, you know, like it looks goofy, I think you should give Hustlers a chance. I mean, you don't have to go pay to see it if you don't want to. I don't know if you have like the Regal subscription or Stubs or whatever, AMC Stubs. Dude, see this movie. Please see this movie. I think it's really good. I really hope Lorene Scafaria gets to have a lengthy career. I think it's a really big step up for her. The cast was great. I love Hustlers. I cried at the stripper movie. Maybe you will too. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's weird that I'm like recording this in a hotel room, and I got really emotionally affected by the movie about strippers, but like I love this film, and thank you guys for watching me talk about it. Next week we'll be reviewing something else, and maybe I'll be less raw about it, and I'll be on my couch, so you guys will, all the people who've been texting me, where the fuck is your couch, it's in my apartment, which I will be back at soon. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you have subscribed, please hit the little bell icon so you get notifications when I put out new videos. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. You know, just normal stuff. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie if you've seen it. Tell me why you don't want to watch it, why you do want to watch it. Your favorite movies about strippers, your favorite J-Lo movies. I don't know, your favorite Fiona Apple songs, whatever you want to do. You know, subscribe, watch any of this other stuff that you see on the screen. Trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Bribe them. Tell them that sometimes in videos I like give out like money or like blowjobs. I don't know. We might have to by November get to giving away blowjobs if that's how it's gonna go. Maybe, I don't know. Have a great week, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.